Cup Series race. Here are your hosts, Kevin Bedstone, NASCAR Sky, and Jeff Davis.
Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of Mash the Gas. I'm NASCAR Sky. Joining me shortly, Kevin and Jeff. And we're here to recount Richmond, which I'm super excited. Not only is it awesome when you pick the winner, but it's even better when it's your favorite driver. Joey Logano goes out, dominates stage 2, takes home the win, catapulting himself up to like 8th or 9th in the points. Crazy stuff there. But, I have to ask, Jeff, who mashed the gas the hardest?
Well, you called it. We have to get up to Joey Logano. He led 95 laps, and boy, I thought Chase Briscoe really was going to win this one because he led 171 laps. He was, neck and neck all day long. It was great seeing Briscoe up there. But as we talked about, it's whoever gets that final lap, no matter how many laps you've led. The 22 pulled it off, and yeah, we got to give it up to Joey. I think you're right. I think he did move up, from like 20th to 8th in the point standings. So huge day for Joey Logano and just Penske overall. All three of their drivers kicked ass. I know we were talking a little bit about it a minute ago. Ryan Blaney had a great day, but it was really cool to see all three of the drivers up there in the top 5.
This is just it's typical Penske. We're getting in that time of year where it's time to crank it up, time to turn it up. We don't know how this chase is going to shake out yet, but a few weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, we were all sitting here going, is Joe even going to make the chase? Like, that was a legitimate question. Now he's 1 point separates him and Kyle Larson for 8th in the point series, moved up 4 spots just this race weekend. So if he can go out and run top 5 in New Hampshire, survive Daytona, he's going to be seated pretty well in this thing. But most importantly, this is just what Joey Logano does. We were talking about a little bit before we jumped on mic. He gets hot when it counts. It's an even year. Sky, you got to be feeling good about that.
I mean, I definitely am. Although I wish he would just not give me such a heart attack the beginning of the year and just be consistent all year. But I guess take it where you can get it. It was just all cylinders firing for that entire 22 team, because we have to give it up for pit road was really, really important in this race. We had some cars on 2-stop strategies, some cars on 3-stop strategies. So pit road, you had to execute and you had to do it well, or you had to be able to come back for it. We've seen the little incident that Austin Cindric got into there earlier in the race. But yeah, overall, Team Penske, all of the, the top guys that we think of, the top teams we think of, they were 1 through 10 at this race. You got to give a shout out to Hendrick Motorsports, where all 4 of their drivers got a top 10 finish, which is really impressive, especially out of Alex Bowman. So it's a really good day for them as well.
And I'm sure you guys, if people haven't heard it yet, we know that Alex Bowman will be replaced driving the number 48 Ally Chevrolet. It has been confirmed that Connor Zilisch will be taking his seat. As we know, Mr. H loves to pick these young drivers. He likes to hold on to them as long as he can. Bowman sounds like he's just going to retire. I know he's with his health issues. It's been a big part of his decision. But I think Connor Zilisch will not disappoint. He will miss Trackhouse because they're a great organization, but Mr. H just does great. And Sky, like you mentioned, it was really cool to see Hendrick kind of pull their shit together finally and get all their cars up there. It was great. And Austin Cindric getting P3. So between Penske and Hendrick, this race was way different than a lot of the races we've seen in the past. We've seen both organizations up there and everything. Ryan Blaney, what did you guys think? This is another one I want to talk to you about. Ryan Blaney, when Denny Hamlin got into the back of him, I don't think it was quite as an intentional thing, but that was one of the best damn saves I had seen during the entire race when Blaney got totally squirrely there and was able to pull it off, Kevin.
Yeah, that definitely was pretty wild. You called that weeks ago when we were kind of juggling who we thought was going to go in that 48, and sir is going to be Connor Zilisch. So congrats to him. He's got a bright career ahead of him. Richmond, look, great short track tempers, chrome horns. I did not expect the 11 of Denny Hamlin to basically drive through the 12 of Blaney there, but heads up move by Blaney to keep that thing going straight. I think Hamlin was just trying to, I don't know if he just misjudged the angle or what he did, because he kind of got into that right rear bumper and about turned him around. So, that's Richmond.
I think you just misjudged it, guys.
Yeah, I think so too. It's one of those racing deals, especially when you see somebody like Denny Hamlin's caliber. He doesn't usually make too many mistakes like that. And it's really good that it didn't end Ryan Blaney's day, because I'm sure, Blaney is very much a sweetheart on that radio for sure. So I'm sure he probably would have lit that up. But yeah, it was a good day. I mean, it's really good to see Kyle Larson bounce back because he was having, I mean, we've been talking about it. He's had a rough stretch the last few weeks. But even this race was kind of off to a rough start, but he got it together and he pulled it together for a top 10 finish. So I think that's good for him. I hope he can keep that momentum going. I'm not too sure. I don't know quite his stats on New Hampshire. I do really worry about Daytona. I don't think that he has a chance of falling out of the chase. I think he'll make it either way. But I do think that, there's a chance that, he falls. I think outside the top 10, I'm thinking maybe, P13 after all said and done, maybe, I don't know. It's just, he is so, I don't want to say he's bad at super speedways, but we've talked about his luck time and time again. He is just one of the most unluckiest drivers on super speedways.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why New Hampshire is going to be so important to go out and get everything you can get so you don't have to have it come down to, there's no more winning, you're in. We know that. But if you get wiped out in the big one on lap 16, your whole season's gone for a chance at the chase. So if I'm SVG, I think I'm probably the most worried. I think Austin Cindric's going to be okay. I think Bubba Wallace is going to definitely point his way in. But if I'm Ryan Preece heading up to another hometown boy up there in New England, he's got some wood to chop if he wants to climb back in the ring. He's got 50 points to overcome. So, RFK runs good up there. So there's a lot that's going to happen, I think, between this Ross Chastain, Ryan Preece, SVG area on the cutoff line, Jeff. And that's why New Hampshire is going to be so crucial. Daytona's too unpredictable.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, we have 2 races to go, and it's always a crapshoot at the super speedways. So you're absolutely right, though. SVG, he's right there on the cutoff line, and Preece is knocking at the door. But I'm pretty sure Ross Chastain and Brad Keselowski, as far as numerically, I don't think there's any way that they can even make the chase. Their points just don't add up where they could have a good enough finish 2 weeks in a row and still get into that top 16. So I think it's coming down to just Ryan Preece is what I'm looking at. But kind of back to Hendrick Motorsports a little bit, being able to see Kyle Larson get that P6 finish and then haul ass out to the airport and get out there. He ran out and won the Knoxville Nationals, which is arguably one of the most prestigious competition in all of dirt racing. So, he's a busy guy, man. He's out there. He's still running everything and just kicking ass. So I absolutely love it that, like Sky mentioned, that Hendrick, all their cars made it up in there. Really cool to see their camp getting their stuff back in order. I mean, William Byron got, what was it? He's 12th in points right now. But he finished, what was it? P9
for the 24.
P9? Well,
Yep.
I was trying to remember the order, but yeah, P9. So again, good run for all of them. But yeah, congrats to Kyle Larson for going out and winning the Knoxville Nationals.
That's just the most Kyle Larson thing ever. And it was funny too, because they're at the speedway out there. They're like, well, they were showing the Richmond race because those dirt races, those guys are nuts. They'll run to like 3 a.m. Like that's just normal in their world. And, they had to wait for Kyle Larson to fly out from Richmond. So the race fans are sitting there watching the end of the race, and they had to halt the main event until Larson got there, which I find kind of interesting. But to then go out and win that, that's a difficult series to compete in after just doing, 400 laps around a pretty difficult short track. But Richmond, every time we go there, it's a storyline. I thought we were going to see a little bit more out of the 3 of Austin Dillon just based on how good he's been here the last 2 years. Granted, he did wreck Logano to win 2 years ago here, won fair and square here a year ago, but just that 3 car just did not have the speed that I was expecting. I wanted to put him in my fantasy lineup, but it just didn't shake out for him this year. And I think that's what we're seeing with this next gen, with the data that we have now. These drivers are studying, guys that go out and dominate races. They're going to study what Logano did at North Wilkesboro and at Richmond and keep fine tuning their craft. I was listening to Chase Briscoe talk about earlier as he was guest hosting for Denny, goes out and leads 171 laps, makes a pretty good run there. Logano's just he's so experienced and just knows how to hold off guys and aero block and, kind of protect the win. But I think this 19 car is definitely got something. I think he's going to be a threat in New Hampshire, and I think he's going to be a threat deep in the chase.
Oh, so do I. I mean, Chase Briscoe, he is so talented, and I'm glad to see. I mean, I've been watching him since, him and Cindric used to be like the top guys down in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. So, I mean, Chase Briscoe, his career, I don't know. I'm just very happy for him, and I do think that he's got a really strong chance to make a really big run. And I think that he fits that 19 team very well, and they all mesh together, and I don't think they could have found a better replacement for MTJ, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. Looking back to Kyle Larson, I know we kind of jump around, but it almost makes you wonder, If all that spreading around he does is kind of what's happening, you're diverting so much time to all these other, and I do know that he is extremely talented, and I don't knock him, and I don't doubt that at all. But it's so strange to see just how he is. But then I guess you look at Hendrick as a whole, and maybe it just isn't just Larson. I mean, we've said it again, time and time again, that Hendrick has just been off the mark this year. So maybe it's just something they'll rebound from next year, or maybe they'll pull a Penske, fix it, in the Chase, and start running better. So we'll just have to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, and it's great to see him, where he is standing in the points in eighth. I mean, without having a single win this year. Same thing with Christopher Bell. We've talked about it, week in, week out. He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He keeps getting a lot of P2s out of a lot of races this year. Doesn't have a single win, but he's still sitting there seventh in points. So as far as drivers with wins, obviously we know Denny Hamlin has four. And at the beginning of the year, we were talking about, man, is it going to be hard to beat Tyler Reddick? I mean, winning 5 of the earliest races in the entire season. And he's, fourth in points right now. Ty Gibbs and Ryan Blaney have surpassed him. Those guys each have 2 wins. But Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell not having any. And then Joey Logano is, like we said, stepping his way up into the points. Actually, I think he's P9 in points right now, but he's got 2 wins. And that was sure a great win for him. I saw that Austin Cindric was talking about, this was the kick in the ass that the team needed, is what he was saying after the results on Saturday, because that was his best finish so far this year. And so it's been great. Penske did great. Hendrick did great. But as far as the Chase, man, we've got, in my opinion, one more race to really get it figured out. Because once we get to Daytona, again, anybody can win that race. Maybe Austin Dillon can win that race. Maybe not. I'm not sure. He's usually pretty good there, but there's no way he'll be able to make it even with a win or maxing out the points. No way he'll be able to get into the top 16, Kevin.
Yeah, it's just the path to get there is very, very unlikely. I mean, you would need guys to basically have DNFs 2 weeks in a row and Preece or Chastain go out and win the next 2 in a row, because that plus 15 for winning the race does move the needle quite a bit. I mean, that's definitely why we saw Logano shoot up. That's why we saw Denny get up to where he is. That's why we saw Tyler Reddick get out to such an early lead. But it's crazy to think that Reddick was once dominating that much, is now 138 points to the negative, but we'll still be seeded pretty decently when we get to the Chase. This is going to be our first run at this point seeding, and I'm just very curious to see how it's going to shake out. And I think that's why, if I'm Joey Logano, I'm going to go out and try and win New Hampshire, because I want more bonus points. I want to get a better seed going in to this Chase. But to end it at Daytona, where Sky will be representing MTG, it's always tough to end the regular season there, because it's just you can't control the controllables until you get caught up in the big one, right? At least at New Hampshire, you can kind of run your race. It's a little bit shorter, right? We got 301 versus some of these longer races, and so the pressure is definitely building. You can feel it for sure. Guys like Eric Jones that got taken out a few weeks ago. I just, like you said, Jeff, there really isn't much of a pathway there without a lot of things going your way.
Yeah, it's going to be super, super tough for a couple of those guys. I just don't see it happening. But overall, like I said, next weekend is going to be fun. Kevin, you're going to be representing out there in New Hampshire. I know you're going to have a lot of fun taking your girl to her first NASCAR race up there with you. It's a little barely over a mile track, super flat. I think it's only 1% in the straightaways and only 2% banking in all 4 corners. So this is going to be right up the wheelhouse for some of these guys, like Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, as far as his seeding in the points, like you're mentioning, being 138 behind. Even in the next 2 races, I don't see Chase Briscoe coming up and being able to top that and get in the top 4. But anything can happen. But just where he's at, he's 120 some points behind Tyler Reddick. The only 2 I think it might be switching up would maybe be Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick. They could, they're pretty close in points. As far as Ty Gibbs is 127 behind Denny Hamlin, and then Tyler Reddick being 138. Those 2 might flip flop a little bit as far as the seeding once it's all said and done. But obviously, we know they are guaranteed in for sure, 100%. I don't think we're going to see anyone other than SVG. I really don't see any other changes that could happen other than Austin Cindric, maybe Bubba Wallace. But it's going to be close, you guys.
Oh, definitely for sure. And I can't wait. I'm so excited to see how it all shakes out. I'm so glad the playoffs are gone. I'm just ready for the new change. And this year has just been such a great year overall. We breezed past all of that. We got into a lot of the standings in New Hampshire, but we didn't really give our opinions on the Richmond race. I was impressed. I love Richmond. Like I said, it's a track that um, is one of the ones I consider kind of like a home track. There's not really one close enough to where I live. So Richmond's ones that I've been to. And I enjoyed it. There was a lot going on. You had the tire fall off. You had the different pitch strategies. Obviously, I was very happy with the ending of stage two. Joey finishing 8 seconds ahead, which I thought was just absolutely crazy. Yeah, but I really like Richmond was just entertaining. I thought it was just, I don't know, a good change of pace, getting into the last few weeks of the season or the regular season. Obviously, Daytona is just so much so quickly. So I don't know. This race was just exactly kind of what I needed before, a week or 2 weeks from now when we get into straight chaos.
Yeah, I agree. I've always been a fan of Richmond. I think Jeff 2 years ago we had talked about how the short track package needed improvement because we were seeing a lot of conveyor belt racing, not a lot of side by side, hard to pass. But I think we're getting there. We're almost there. With the added horsepower and different downforce and just some of the things that NASCAR has done to improve short track package racing, I think has made it very entertaining. And I would say consistently throughout the season, most of these short tracks have checked out. But Richmond's just got a vibe. It's old school. Place is always packed. I know it's one of the more difficult racetracks to get in and out of from a fan's perspective, but they show up every year. They're going to pack them in. Short track Saturday night. I mean, that's what the sport was built around. We still haven't seen that rule come in just yet, guys. With the less than 10 to go to end the stage, I am curious to see how that is going to shake out. Because there's a lot of scenarios there where we might see that at maybe at Daytona. I could see that being a possibility, but we still have not seen that come into play. We did learn some news about North Wilkesboro going back to the All-Star race next year. Dover gets its points race back, which I think we were all advocating for. What's our thoughts on that?
I love it. I think it's great. I mean, North Wilkesboro, I mean, it's a fun track and everything, but I'm kind of glad to see it as a non-points race. So I'm just kind of my thoughts on that, but it's always fun, and I think next week's gonna be a great race too. We were talking about the short track package there a minute ago, Kevin. And a lot of these guys that we just mentioned, they are great in these short tracks. And I think, what do the grandstands hold there, Kevin? Like 44,000, I think is what New Hampshire holds, somewhere right around there. And you mentioned their parking's terrible to get in and out of too.
They've taken some grandstands out of New Hampshire for sure over the years. That attendance has dwindled down more to the 50 to 60,000 range. I think Richmond's a little bit more than that. But either way, I mean, we're going to pack them in there.
I know Sky representing old Florida down there at Daytona. Hell, you're going to have a great time next year when we have the exhibition races out there for the Clash and everything. It's going to be how many races are you going to get to attend next year, Sky? I mean, just in Florida alone, you'll be able to see like 4 or 5 different races.
Yeah, that's the hope, and I'm gonna hit every single one of them. I mean, I'm like I said, I am a little skeptical. From a fan point, I mean, I am so excited. I'm ecstatic that we brought it back to Daytona. I really always loved watching it. It's always like the nice little like appetizer before the Daytona 500. From once you start kind of getting more into the industry and everything, it does suck. I feel bad for the teams. It's a lot of money they're going to be spent, but I guess you're spending it on fans having a really good time. So I guess it's a give and take situation. I want to say I'm really happy that Dover got its points day back because I do think that it's points race back because it deserves it. I love Dover. I've always loved Dover. I got to go to Dover and I thought it put on such a great race. I'm sure Denny Hamlin agrees with that as well. I'm a little sad that North Wilkesboro is losing. It's points race. Honestly, is it because Joey's good there a little bit? But I'm glad that we're not getting rid of it altogether. I'm sure he'll win a couple more millions while there's the All-Star race. But I'd like to see, them start switching that up a little bit and trying some different tracks and maybe trying some things that, we wouldn't normally go to, like how this one's such a small track. Maybe try I don't know. I like to switch it up a little bit. And I think that NASCAR is moving in the right direction with all of that.
I would agree.
For the All-Star race?
Yeah, let's rotate it for sure. I think
we had it here in Texas for what, 3-4 years?
Yeah, you guys had it for a bit. Obviously, we know Charlotte had it for a bit. They tried Dover. I don't think that's the right place to do an all-star race, but the All-Star race used to be exclusive to Charlotte, just like the Clash was exclusive to Daytona until we started moving it. We know the championship race is going to move in 2028. We just don't know where. It's probably going to be Vegas by the looks of it. Homestead has its play in there as well. But I agree with Sky. I think that the All-Star race should move around. I mean, I like the idea too that these guys it's sort of a home race, being that it's like an hour and a half from Charlotte. So they get kind of that week to be home, and then they have the home race for the Coca-Cola 600. But I think an all-star race, I mean, you think about all-star games in other sports, they usually rotate venues in different cities and things of that nature. Bring it to other markets. Take it out to Nashville, right? I don't think New Hampshire would be the best place for an all-star race, and certainly not a road course either. But yeah, I think we keep this thing moving year over year.
Phoenix might even a good place for an all-star race, just with the dog leg there and where the start finish line is. It's just mix it up. I think, and NASCAR's done a really good job, you guys. We've been talking about that too. NASCAR has been listening to the fans. I mean, look at how many sellout crowds we've had in the last 8 races have all been sold out pretty much.
Richmond was another one. Yep.
Richmond was another one sold out, and I know New Hampshire is going to sell out as well if it hasn't already. I mean, I know, Kevin, you got your tickets, but haven't seen any news of if it is sold out or not. But I would be damn surprised if it does not sell out. So yeah, it's just so cool to see NASCAR again listening to their fans, making changes, moving things around. And I think what you were talking about with the 10 laps to go before a stage, if a caution comes out, that's the end of the stage. Haven't seen it. It's only been in place for a week or two, but I think that's a really good call, because so many people are getting sick of 7-8 laps under caution, and then you restart it for the stage break, leaving only 2 laps to go right before the stage is reset. So I don't care if it happens next week, or like you said, most likely it will happen at Daytona. But I think that is one of the best moves they have made as far as changes go this entire season. I mean, Sky, what are your thoughts about it?
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I was sick of it too. It makes it so gimmicky, the stages, when you're just racking them up to like this one lap shootout. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And it always sucked when your driver was so dominant, the entire stage. And then here comes, someone in the back of the field blowing a tire, wrecking themselves, doing something dumb. And now all of a sudden you lost crucial stage points because you had to, get re-racked and start up. So I definitely agree. And I do think, honestly, just because of the way things go, I bet now that we have this in place, it probably just won't happen for the majority of the rest of the season. And it's going to come into play one of the last races, just to hold off on it. But I have to, agree with everything you guys said. This is the happiest I've been as a NASCAR fan in so long. I feel so heard and respected, and clearly the fans do too. I mean, they're showing up. We're showing up, I feel like social media has been a lot more positive, and the fans are coming to the tracks. And I think that hopefully NASCAR takes this. And clearly, I mean, I don't even need to say hopefully, because I feel like they are. They're seeing this, they're taking it, and they're moving forward with it. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, the improvements we've seen over the last 2 seasons have been phenomenal, and they continue to tweak it and get better and listen to the fans and understand what the drivers' feedback is saying as well. So it's been fun for sure. It's hard to believe we're so close to the chase. What we didn't touch on, guys, was the Carson Hocevar incident at Richmond, where he decided to go from 5th gear to 3rd gear and completely destroy the transaxle. You could hear it on the in-car audio. It was like, oh man, that just sounded very, very expensive. But I know things happen. I mean, we were in an H pattern. I remember AJ Allmendinger was trying to go from 3rd to 4th gear and went to 2nd and blew the motor that way. But we're not on an H pattern in this car, guys. We're sequential. So that was just a blatant mistake by Carson Hocevar. I think he took it on the chin, but costly mistake.
Yeah, it definitely was. You're right. You could hear it, man. And I couldn't help, but I was actually laughing a little bit, because I was like, dude, you just totally blew your engine. I mean, it sucked for him. I know he's a fan favorite right now, and who knows what's going to happen as far as the NASCAR's most popular driver this year, because he's a runner-up. Kevin, you've been saying it all year long that there's a good chance he might take over Chase Elliott. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I kind of think it'll stay with old Chase Elliott, but if anyone is going to beat him out, I think it's going to be Carson Hocevar. I mean, he caters to the fans. He's given them exactly what they want, as far as drama, maybe a little bit, because we've seen him with the way he drives. We know that the guys in the stable don't really like it a lot, but he's getting a lot of attention. He puts out a lot of funny social media stuff, and he's just a great guy. Like when we saw him out in Kansas City, he was taking pictures with anyone and everyone out there, especially if you had a Chili's shirt on. He was like, "Oh, come on in." Brought him underneath, next to the car, brought him underneath the rope, started taking photos with him. When he when he was taking anybody else's trade-ins on shirts, bring your shirt of any other driver, I'll give you one of mine. That was some funny stuff. But yeah, seeing him accidentally switch gears, just misshifted, blew his engine, ruined his day. Really unfortunate for him. But stuff like that happens, you guys.
Yeah, and I think that he's funny at how he does it, and that's why fans like him, because he then joked about it on social media. I seen that he like Googled like how to shift or something and like put it up and was like, "Oh, good thing you can find anything on social media." So, and it's times like this where he does go out, he's got his win, he's going and competing and doing all this crazy stuff, but he's still relatively new. Do you know what I mean? Like he's still a really new driver in the grand scheme of things, and stuff like this really puts that into perspective. Overall, and I know you mentioned a few times about him. I think honestly, all of the sports most popular driver, it'll probably have to wait till next year. I know it's sad to say, but I do remember Chase Elliott saying that he thinks that, and I don't see why NASCAR wouldn't, that they would give up, take his name off the ballot so that Kyle Busch could win it this year. Which like I said, I don't see how they've done it before, and I don't see why they wouldn't do it again. But I do think that maybe if not this year, obviously, I do think that he has a strong chance next year. But Chase has surprised me. I feel like he's come to life a little bit. You're seeing a little more spark out of him, and not just on the racetrack in general, in his interviews, the stuff he's saying. I mean, it just seems like he's starting to become less, I don't want to say cardboard because that sounds so mean. And I know that Hendrick just wants all their drivers very polished, but it's starting to come out of his shell a little bit and kind of show more and show why he's sports most popular,
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, he's quietly there in sixth in points, moved up another spot. So he can definitely turn it on when he needs to. Hendrick's headed in that right direction. The fans love him. And I didn't even think about the Kyle Busch thing with the most popular driver. I'm curious to see how that's going to shake out. And then obviously going into the Hall of Fame as well, which we all know he deserves and needs to go in ASAP. Considering everything that's taken place, this year, and then just the amazing career that he had. But we're on to New Hampshire, guys. And we're going to have to make two picks because I'm just going to let the viewers know I'm going to be there, and then I'm staying there on vacation. My girlfriend, we're going to have a great time. People are like, well, why can't Jeff and Sky just host the show while you're gone? Well, it's kind of recorded here in Denver, Colorado, remote. I have all the, equipment and the software, and I'm going to leave all that behind and shut it down for a week. So we got two picks to make going in. First up is New Hampshire, of course. Look, I got to go. I got to go with Ryan Blaney, guys. I just think, he was going to be my pick for Richmond. We know how good he is on these style of racetracks. He's been successful in Phoenix. He runs good at Richmond, Iowa, New Hampshire. This just kind of falls in. I'm thinking, Jeff, that the 12 is going to go back to back.
You think so? I mean, he definitely ran well this weekend. I think he's going to run well next week. I think he's an excellent pick. Man, I'd hate to cut off Sky on this one because I know who she wants to pick. Sorry, Sky. I'm going to go with the momentum. I'm going to go with your boy. I'm going to take the 22. I mean, I really wanted to pick one of the Hendrick drivers because they have stepped up so much this week compared to the weeks in the past to see all their cars up there. But I'm going to roll with the momentum of Joey Logano. So, Sky, who do you have? We're already taking two of your favorite drivers, so that just leaves you with a couple picks left.
I was about to say, I like these picks you guys are making for sure. I can co-sign them any day you need me to. But it's funny because I wanted to go with Logano myself, like you said. He's got momentum, and I just, and I think I like to say I know my driver pretty well. Whenever he pitted very early, and I put this on my Instagram story, I text my dad. It was like 7:45, I think, and I said Logano's winning this race because he pitted early. So clearly, I'm a little bit of a Logano whisperer. So Jeff, you might be onto something. But I think so. I'm going to go with the 20 of Christopher Bell. I just think more or less it's just time for him to get one. And I'm nothing against anything that he's doing, but he's finished 7 times in second place this season. I just think it's about time he finally gets that. He's worked hard. I don't want to see a little Carl Edwards action 2011. I want him to go out and get a win, not finish second over and over again. So, well, Jeff, I really would like your win. I think I'm going to go with good old Seabell.
That's a great pick. I mean, he's due, like you said, 7 or 8 freaking second place finishes. I mean, that's why he's so high in points. So it's great. It's great to see it. I'd love to see Christopher Bell up there. I just think he's one of my favorite drivers. I don't really have a favorite driver at all anymore since Jeff Gordon retired. So I've got the guys that I like, and he is definitely up there with them. So and Blaney's super cool too, and Logano's a good guy. A lot of these guys are. Most of these guys have really good personalities. One thing before I know he's got to go rolling pretty quick though. Did you guys hear about Legacy Motor Club? We'll have 3 charters starting in 2027 as Riley Herbst is expected to join Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. So that'll be pretty cool for them to see Legacy Motor Club, with drivers for 2028.
Well, that's exciting for those guys for sure. We know Jimmy Johnson's going to run his final Daytona 500 and then kind of turn his attention to being solely an owner. So I expect that organization to be around and continue to grow for a long, long time, just like we see with RFK. Those guys are definitely going to be players in this sport for many years to come.
Now, did Lowe's commit to the sponsorship on this one? I think they did, didn't they?
They're teasing it. I haven't seen an official announcement, but I think that we can pretty much all but say Lowe's will be on the car.
That would be so damn cool. I mean, that would be the greatest thing for his last Cup Series race, having his old sponsor being on the hood. I know they haven't been in NASCAR for a while now, but that would be so cool for JJ to get that sponsorship for his final ride.
That definitely would be. So we've got our picks in for New Hampshire. Blaney, Logano, Seabell, which is a great pick, Sky, because he won this race 2 years ago. I'm going with last year's winner. Jeff's taking the guy that's got the momentum. And then Daytona, Sky, you're going to be there. So back-to-back Mash Gas coverage at the racetracks the next 2 weeks. For Daytona, I'm going with Chris Buescher, guys. I think Chris Buescher gets it done for the final regular season race.
I'm so glad you said that because I was looking at the standings, and he's one that I looked at because I was like, you know what? We've probably said his name like 6 times on the podcast this season. But here he is in 10th. So clearly something's going right for him. And when I was looking, I'm looking at all the drivers, but I think I'm going to go with the 7. I think that, Daniel Suarez, he's good at these type of tracks. He's proved that he can outlast and finish well. So I don't know. I just have a good feeling about him, and he'll get it done in Daytona.
All right. Since we're already having to pick Daytona winners, I'm going to go with the 9 car of Chase Elliott. I know he's great at super speedways. He's got a little bit of momentum right now, and he is overdue. So as long as he doesn't get caught up in anything, I'm going with number 9, guys.
Well, there you have it. It's pretty rare that we have to make 2 picks in a row, but it's 1 week out of the year. We're on to New Hampshire. We got the lobster. The weather's looking relatively decent. I think we got about a 30% chance of rain showers. Pretty common this time of year. Hopefully we get this thing in on time. And it's a great race. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to break down all the action from Daytona, recap a little bit of New Hampshire, and get everybody ready for the Chase. It's going to be jam-packed. These next 2 races are going to be intense. If you're new to NASCAR, tune in. It is going to be a wild ride for sure. A lot of storylines coming. Thanks for everyone that supports this podcast. Be sure to follow us across the board on social media at Mash the Gas, NASCAR Sky, at NASCAR Sky. We're going to go hoist that lobster. Have a good New England trip. And until then, y'all.
Mash the gas.